We know what to expect. Oh shit! I haven't even changed. I haven't even shared my screen with you guys. Apologies, people. Share my screen. Ignore these. These are just some notes for myself. If I make this a bit bigger for you guys, is that perfect? Of course, that can't be perfect. Let's go there, people. I think Leeds are 11th and we're 10th. I should have checked the Premier League. But that's the last time I looked at it. Now, I'm not going to bore you lot with things, people. You lot are not stupid. You lot know what the seasons is. We're halfway through this. You know how good Leeds are. You know where Arsenal have been as a team. You know the plaudits Leeds get. We know how they play. You know, they attack and defend with the same intensity throughout, rightly or wrongly. They've got one way of playing. That being said, you know, Bielsa twists and tweaks that system within game. We know they've got a world-class manager, a world-class system, and top-class players playing consistently well, people. Someone said, zoom in one more time. There you go. In fact, now that's dead, man. I can't see now. So it's going to have to stay at 150 still. You're going to have to grab your glasses. But like I said, people, we know they've got quality players. They've got a quality system. They've got a quality manager. We know, you know, Bielsa doesn't have the most decorated of CVs, but all you need to listen, if you don't know nothing about him, is how people that, you know, Pep Guardiola and these sort of people talk about him. I don't need to bore you lot. We all knew what happened the last time we played them. You know, it was 1-1. It's a point. It's a point gained. It's a point gained and 2 points dropped, depending on how you look at it, people. Literally. We know we had a red card, but we didn't start the game in the best way. And for me personally, people, this is why I want to start this game well, because for me, logically speaking, if you're going through a tough time in the season, and let's say Wolves, Leeds, and Villa, you messed up all of them, right? Let's just say, if you want to learn from your mistakes, when you're going through that similar run, surely you go into these games thinking, cool, that team battered us 3-0. I'm going to do this. Wolves, this. You know, we failed against Wolves to get a reaction. We failed against Leeds to get a reaction. I mean, we failed against Villa. We failed against Wolves. I want to see it against Leeds, and I damn well want to see it against Leicester, because if you don't, Leicester, all these teams are going to eat you alive, you know? So again, can we put it right, people? Can we get a result? Simple as. You failed the last 2 times you went to the Midlands. You know, can you now go up to Yorkshire and get a result? Well, can that Yorkshire team come down here? You get the point. When we went up to Yorkshire, we didn't get something, people. You know, if I'm Wolves, I mean, if I'm Leeds, apologies. Honestly, I'm sitting there and saying Arsenal are lucky, you know. I'm sitting there and saying we should have taken 3 points off Arsenal. They got a point. They were lucky we couldn't break them down. It was 2 points dropped for us, a point gained, because we were calamity. Regardless of that red card, I can remember that game vividly. Pepe's an idiot for getting himself sent off in that game, but only Tierney and Saka was standing up to be counted. Our midfield was non-existent. Now, Joe Willock's gone out on loan. Xhaka, you played, so I want to see a reaction from you and every individual player that played, in the same way I demanded that against Villa if you played, and Wolves if you played. So we need to stand up to be counted, people. Leeds would say we're lucky. I would say, if I'm Leeds, I'm saying Arsenal got lucky. I'm saying we've given better teams harder runs for their money. You know, we all remember at our point, Leeds, the first time I knew Bielsa was on something in the Premier League, he had Pep Guardiola at their place begging for a point. Sometimes they've been poor at one place. There's been a contrast in their performances at home and away. They aren't invincible. They have dropped stupid points. But I would, honestly, if I'm Leeds, I'm coming here and saying, yo, that Arsenal team, overrated. We should have got 3 points. You know, they've got pressure on them. They got a frail defense. You know, they make mistakes. Let's come here and have fun. You know, if they win, less headlines are getting drawn. If they lose, you can imagine what happens on Match of the Day. You hear the way Alioski is speaking as well. They're coming here thinking it's a joke thing. Alioski said he can't wait to play next to Pepe. So if I'm Pepe now, in a footballing sense, don't get yourself sent off this time. First 5, embarrass him on the footballing field from a footballing sense, you know, twist him up, turn him up if you play, but leave something on him in a footballing sense, you know. Let him know you're there. That's what he'd be getting treatment from me, people. I can't lie to you. That shows you where they are. Obviously, they've got people like Patrick Bamford, who is interested in Leeds' system, first and foremost. You know, you heard him say himself, Bielsa demands defensiveness, but he's scoring a high amount of goals this season, and I'm sure he wants to go off to the Euros. These are the games Southgate's watching, so he's going to want him to put a performance. For me, I want leaders. I don't just want Tierney and Saka and these handful of players I said in the last when we played them at Ellen Road. I want 11 leaders. You know, Leno comes back into the team for me. You could say Matt Ryan's hard done by, but Leno come back in and show what you're on. David Luiz wouldn't come back in, but if you play, show me what you're on. Cedric, if you play, because you play for me. If you make a mistake, you made a mistake last game, go and remind people of the good form. You know, let's reset. Any small, because it does appear there must have been a bit of complacency creeping into our game when we started winning games, you know. We start again. We're back to 0. We've lost 10 games already this season. You know, even if we win all these games, we're relying on a lot. top 4 can mathematically, it is there. It's not going to be easy, but it's there, and it's down to these players. It's down to these players. If they want it, they'll go and get it. Like I said, there's no need to really sit here and talk about Leeds technically. We know they can hurt us on the counter attack. We know they attack and defend with the same intensity. We know they've got Rafinha, Jack Harrison, who's starting to score goals. They've got Rafinha, you know, they've got Calvin Phillips, my personal favorite in that team. They've got a lot of quality, you know. Alioski might be an angle to get at. You know, I don't know if they're going to play Luke Ayling, a former Arsenal player, again, because he did look like he was having a tough time initially in the game we played in the reverse. And like I said, people, like you can see it here, can't afford to keep dropping points weekly and cheaply. At that, I should have added. You know, we've already got 10 league defeats, you know, so we're already on thin ice. And also, we're now getting into the Europa League. You know, after this, we've got the Europa League sandwiched in between that. I think we've got City. So you need some insurance going into that City game for one. And we need to start building some momentum. You know, for me, it's a big game if you beat Leeds. That's a bit of momentum. You can take that into the Benfica game. You get something against Benfica. You never know what can happen, people. You know, what's all of that? Apologies. When I look at Leeds quickly, as you can see in their last 5 games, people, they can be got up, but they've beat Leicester, something we can say we ain't done. They managed to ship in 2 goals against Palace. We weren't able to score against Palace. They beat Newcastle 2-1. We did that. They lost against Everton and Brighton, but forgive me if I'm wrong, the Everton game, they made it quite tricky for Everton. So, you know, if you're a defender at Arsenal, be prepared to work very hard. If you're a midfielder, you're in for a battle. If you're a striker, you're in for a battle. You know, win your individual battles. Don't get caught up in silly shenanigans, and let's walk away with 3 points. Let's not let Bielsa get any more plaudits based on this game. Let's go in there with some serious fight, drive, and intention, people. We know they play a bunch of systems, primarily a 4-1-4-1. You know, Millie, the keeper. I've watched him since he was at Lorient. He's a good keeper, but his age does show at times. Can we get at him? Can we take advantage of that? They do seem to switch off at times in terms of set pieces and following runners. Can we take advantage? Because same way they're dangerous on the transition, they're vulnerable. You know, they only really play one way. They tweak it, but they only play one way. We know their midfield is crucial, but we know wide areas. They've got 1v1 demons. If you're playing against Rafinha and them man there, you better be in for a game. We know they've got fullbacks who that's meant to have an O there who overlap. We know exactly what to expect, people. We'll get into the lineup in a second, people, but let's see what we've got here. Like you can see here, we know what they're going against. They've got a 4-1-4-1 formation. You know, if I bring in some Arsenal defenders really quickly, we know first and foremost, primarily his job is to defend, you know, defend from the front. He's going to look to press you. If you just say that's a back four, of course, you know, you're going to have the rest of the team join him. Of course, I'm not going to move every one of those people. I'm not going to move every one of those, but primarily Bamford is there to press. So again, be in for a day. We're playing out from the back. Make sure you're there. Or equally, if he's pressing alone, that makes no sense. They might just sit off and hold their shape, which kind of brings me into this one. You know, Arsenal have a problem breaking down low blocks. This is going to be, obviously, like you can see here on the transition, they're going to be very expansive, people. They're going to get high and wide with, I assume, Harrison, maybe Rafinha and things like that. You've got Bamford, who's a threat from aerial positions. So in the same way, we haven't marked Ollie Watkins properly, and in the build-up to William Jose being fouled properly, we wasn't marking him and aware of our runners. Defenders, be aware, because this is a man in Patrick Bamford who's full of confidence, who can score in big games. He's a former Chelsea lad as well. I'm sure he want to score goals. These are the games Southgate's watching. I'm sure an analytical team to the scale of Leeds, they've therefore briefed him on our defense. You know, movement, communication is going to be a thing. We know their fullbacks are going to look to join them as well. So we need to be on job here. We know their midfield is going to be crucial as well. You've got Calvin Phillips, who can pick a wonderful pass. Their midfielders work hard as well. So we need to know what we're doing. That attacking transition is going to be a threat from Leeds. So we need to be wary of the counter attack if we're caught in positions, people. Same way, I don't think Leeds are going to sit back, but Bielsa, in the same way he's coordinated going forward, there's no way he's not defending properly. You know, you heard Patrick Bamford the other day when he's talking about what Bielsa, demands from a striker. Bamford said it's about defending first and foremost. That's the first line of defense. So like I showed you earlier, he's going to press in that, but there's going to be times where they're going to be a well-defensive unit. What do you see here? 4-1-4-1, 2 banks of 4. Obviously, you got the man sitting in. Calvin Phillips could either do that. He could either make it, even flatter midfield. And it's another unanswered question for me, people. It doesn't matter if we're going against low blocks, if we're going against well defensive units like Villa, for as good as they are going forward. Dean Smith's got them defending. We're unable to break them down. I need, on top of everything else, I want to see you start well and the rest of it. I need to know if you can break them down. I don't know how Leeds are going to come to the Emirates. On one hand, I think they're going to play like they always play, coming out, seeing what we're about, attacking us. On the other hand, they might just sit back and allow us to get confidence, because both teams are frail on the transition. So we will have to see what happens in that regards. And then if it goes the way I would like it to go, where, like I said, 2 banks of 4, there's a unit, like you can see here, and then moving into this one, people, this is why I think it's a game. I'm going to get into the lineup, but this is why I think it's a game for the ballers. Like, the players that we've got in this team that are technically good. Like, you know, you can flirt between Saka. Saka will probably play on the right for me, but you could flirt between that being Saka, that being Pepe, that being Martinelli. This is why movement and how you break down a team is crucial, because if you got your fullbacks here, you know, like I said, if the game goes like this, all of us in their half, them, you know, 11 men behind the ball, 2 banks of 4 with Calvin Phillips and Bamford here, respectively. I want to see my team high up the field. I want to see Saka here whipping in passes. I want to see Martinelli making runs, you know, assuming Saka here is a left back, or you could say Martinelli or whatever. You know, is it a game for Lacazette? Because Lacazette, on one hand, you know, if they do play Lacazette, I do think they take him seriously. And I more should show it here. But if you imagine Lacazette is here, people, naturally, Lacazette ain't really a threat like that. You back yourself in a foot race. So like against Everton, you would see them getting higher up the field. Obviously, you'd have to stay inside. Where against Aubameyang, they might just sit back a little and say, okay, cool, F getting in a foot race with him. So that would be something to see. But I think it's a game for the ballers, because Lacazette looks to get onto the ball and connect with various players. You know, if that's Martinelli, if that's Saka, if that's Cedric, who it should be for me, you know, if you've got Xhaka, I assume, for everything you say about Xhaka, he can pick out a pass. I want you to feed people in the channels. I want Lacazette to show for it. You know, it's not going to be Partey. I'd go with Ceballos again. You know, can you receive it off these centre halves and make something happen? You know, you could even force Pepe out here. You know, you could even force Odegaard or Smith Rowe out here. You could go with, let's just say this is Smith Rowe, that's Odegaard, that's Lacazette, that's whoever you want. I think Arteta has to pick his most technical players, people that are good on the ball, because we need to break down this unit. I don't want to see sideways and backwards and here and back, and eventually it finds Leno and goes here. We need to break them down. Xhaka, if the ball's on, Martinelli or whoever make that run, play it in behind, or if not, take somebody with you. So this fullback don't know where to go. Can we play it in behind for an ongoing fullback like Saka in this example? He whips it behind. Obviously, you'd have to lose your man and have to be on side, but you get the point. We need movement. You know, we need movement. It doesn't matter. You know, Leeds will take this. Leeds are a well-drilled unit, and plus you have Bielsa and his coaching staff bellowing things. You know, movement. If you all stay static, obviously it's static because it's not motion graphics, but you can see how hard this is to defend. Suddenly, if Lacazette moves, these two have to have a conversation. Who's marking? You know, cover me. You know, I'm marking, cover me. Suddenly, if he doesn't listen to him and Lacazette loses his man and that ball comes in behind, you've got a decision to make, people. You know, if they're creating 2v1s out there and the winger is too narrow, the fullbacks have to talk. If this guy isn't going to get out there, then you can see how 2v1s are sorted. And then this fullback has a tough decision, people. You know, does he go out wide or does he remain? And we can look to exploit that. So team shape is going to be vital. But I want to see us get 3 points. So psychologically, you can tell me you've lost against the team and able to win. Break down a team, you know, go into a game where it's a big game for us against Leeds. They're one of the best teams in the league. Obviously, we was one of the first to play last week and we bottled it. We're going to be one of the last. You know, we're going to already see Man City versus who's Man City playing? Spurs. We're already going to see Leicester against Liverpool. Teams that, whether we're in top 4 shouts or not, we've got to look to make ground where these people drop points. So we're going to know exactly the ramifications, winning, losing or drawing. I know some people, there's fixtures on Monday. I don't know when other people are playing, but you get the point, people. That's where I'm looking at from a tactical point of view, people. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards firmly, people. In relation to the lineup, I've got 2 lineups here, as you can see, people. My first lineup, which would probably be my A lineup, people, would be, like you can see here, Leno picks himself in goal for obvious reasons. I know Cedric didn't have the best of games, but I'd prefer Cedric to Bellerin, so Cedric will get the look in. I wouldn't bring in David Luiz for Holding or Gabriel. I'd do it for Marie, but I don't know if Marie's fit. So, and thanks for telling me. Yeah, so with the exception of Chelsea versus Newcastle, we kind of know where we stand. But, you know, I think this would remain my centre-half pairing. And Leno, no more stupid red cards. And, you know, Matt Ryan don't deserve to be dropped. He deserves to keep his spot. But at the end of the day, Leno is our best keeper. So I'm throwing him in there. We need to get a win. Cedric plays for me over Bellerin. But we all know realistically, Cedric is going to continue at left back and Bellerin's over there. If Cedric moves to right back, I know there's other things you can do. And I don't really want Saka playing here. But I'd rather Saka there. Saka would be able to combine with whoever's playing left wing. Saka's a more of an out and out. He looks more like a fullback. At best, the other guys just look like stop gaps. For me, I'd go with Xhaka and Ceballos. I wouldn't be against Xhaka and El Nene. And obviously, Xhaka would be on the left, Ceballos on the right. Don't know why I've done it this way. But that would be it for me. I believe Odegaard's got a start. He looked good against Villa. He got a couple minutes against United, but we've only got him for 4 or so months. You know, the adaptation period is now. He's got to learn from playing. And as you lot know, he's on loan from Real Madrid. He wants to play and things like that. There's every reason for him to hit the ground running. The time is now. I don't think Smith Rowe should be dropped. I do know he needs a rest and things, but he's had a week off, excluding training. I would like to actually keep Smith Rowe. I wish we could play 12 players. I think Odegaard and Smith Rowe should play together. I think we saw little aspects of what they could do together against Aston Villa. Like I said in this example, people, going back, it's a game for our technical players. So I don't mind. So I don't mind if you're going to go Saka left back and any combination here. If you're going to go with the Smith Rowes and Odegaard here and Smith Rowe, who, you know, he looks to float all around the pitch and get into triangles. You know, Odegaard who can pass the ball forward. Ceballos and Xhaka behind him. Holding and Gabriel who also should be able to clip balls forward. I want people who are sound on the ball. Obviously, Leno's good with his feet, as shaky as he might be at times. But I don't care what combination it is. It's just got to be done, people. So moving back, front three. Aubameyang don't really deserve to get into the game, but I do think if I'm going Saka there, I think Martinelli could get a look in, but I'd probably go with Aubameyang. I think Lacazette, he's a baller, so he gets to play. Pepe, go and show me something on the right. My second lineup would be, I don't know why that's got a H there, but, you know, same defensive lineup as you lot can see here. Xhaka, Ceballos, and Odegaard as our front three. And then I'll go with Pepe, Lacazette, and Martinelli. Again, I wish you could pick 12 players. I think Martinelli should be here. And like you can see here, I can't lie. You know, I want to force Smith Rowe into the team, people. You know, I think it's a game for those quick interception moves playing in tight spaces. That's why I wouldn't mind forcing Odegaard on the flanks. But I don't think Pepe deserves to be dropped. Equally, I don't think Aubameyang starting. A part of me, and that's here, I do think Lacazette might drop out for Aubameyang because I think that's the easiest thing to do. I think that's what he's going to do personally, but I don't know. So that would be my lineup. And to be fair, I know Pepe's been good on the left and you can still go with Saka on the right. But I don't really want Cedric there. I want an out-and-out guy. And obviously, to be fair, with Saka, he'd be in for a big day of defending. They've got Rafinha over on that right-hand side and stuff. Regardless, it's going to be a big day. So we're going to have to see. But that would be it for what I'm going with. And that would be it in relation to, you know, my preview of the game. Really and truly, we know what needs to be done, people. We know we need to win a game of football. We know we're dropping stupid points. You know, it's as simple as that. I don't need to bore you lot with the cliches. You know, we've lost 10 games already this season. You know, our last couple of games have been unacceptable in terms of whatever we're looking at it, we're dropping points. We need to get back on the horse and keep going forward and stuff like that. We need to get some points back. And we're going into Manchester City after this. You need to give yourself some sort of insurance. It's as simple as that. Really, it's as simple as that, people.